Hello everyone. So welcome to this sales onboarding session that we are going to follow together. I'm Stefano. I'm a team leader in direct sales. Actually today we are going to check together, as a continuation of the previous presentation on how to properly handle a qualification, we are going to see some tips and tricks on how to properly make a demonstration. So how to present our software. If you need to contact me, feel free to send me an email if something is not clear about this presentation, and I will be happy to reply you. So, passing to a brief agenda of the presentation we are going to see together. So, first of all, we are going to see briefly, let's say, use case and talk in general, let's say, about what a demonstration is. Then we'll talk about the importance of a demonstration and why do we demo, actually, for which purpose. And finally, we do have some tips and tricks to share that we prepared with all team leaders together that are going to be useful for you in order to handle different momentums, different processes, let's say, that you have to cover before the demonstration, during, and after, actually. So, where do we stand when we talk about the demonstration? To start to talk about that, actually, we can start mentioning the previous presentation. We analyze together how you actually qualify a prospect or a customer. Now, you actually need to connect the different processes of the sales cycle. And we do see that after prospection, there is the qualification, where we analyze the needs. And after that, normally, in order to reach the commercial zone, where we will actually negotiate with prospect or customers a potential contract or a renewal or an upsell of users and modules, we actually talk about the qualification briefly. We were there just in the previous presentation, and we mentioned which needs can we solve, how can we move to the next steps, and actually how we do collect all the relevant informations that you can use to prepare a tailored demonstration. Okay? So, passing to the actual moment that we analyze right now. The demonstration is simply a broader, let's say, step, in a pre-sale phase, okay? It's still a moment of analysis, but mostly a moment of presentation. It's there where you have to use your presentation skills. You need to know how to present a solution, how to share your screen and go through the functionalities of a database, and actually through that facilitate in a way the decision making and put forward, let's say, the added value and showing how the pain points are actually solved. Of course, the qualification is relevant because from the data and information we got, we are going to configure a specific database, a specific demonstration, let's say, for our customer or prospect. Right now, why do we demo? Let's understand it together. One important point to mention is that we want to stimulate the interest. So clearly showing the software visually, so sharing your screen and going through the different modules is going to stimulate the interest of your prospect or customer simply for the reason that is the unique way they can see the software working in an operative mode guided by you who bring in the knowledge on the software. Apart from that, it helps you, so the demonstration as a moment helps you to build enough trust in the solution you are presenting. This simply means that it's a moment when you can reply to questions and you can prove at your point of contact that actually the software is able to handle the requirements of the company. So this is really helpful. And how to build this trust? Well, simply trying to reply to the questions for which you already have an answer and being very professional for the questions to which you don't have a direct answer. Take a note, search internally. In Odoo, we have a beautiful network of people, senior people, team leaders, managers, functional consultant, technical ones that can help you. Count on them. So if you don't know the reply to a question, please take a note. Don't dare and take the risk of saying yes to something you're not sure of. Analyze it internally and come back to your prospect or customer with the proper reply. That's how we handle it. That's how we prove our transparency and our professional handling. All right? Talking about the another aspect on which for which we do a demonstration actually is also to convince and facilitate the decision making. As you can understand, when you are showing how their company can be managed by our ERP software, you are actually making them feel, and you should make them feel, that this would be the best solution for them, that it covers all the functional needs, that the pricing is correct, and actually that the user experience is pretty awesome. So convince the decision making and always put forward the added value. Okay? Talking about some tips and tricks before the demonstration. So very important, before the demonstration, we need to take the informations that we got from the importance of the qualification phase, okay? So in the qualification phase, we analyze the business, the person that's behind the business, the timing, the methodology, put that in place into your database, all right? Because this is what you will be able to show. So before the demo, it's crucial to have good notes because that notes will define how you will present it, what you will present it, and it will allow you as well to identify the pain points. Pain points are very important because once you know them, you potentially can find a good solution to solve them, and that represents a good solution for a new customer or for an existing customer who's searching, for example, for new applications. Finally, we already mentioned that in the previous presentation, but it's good to keep in mind that if you are missing informations after your qualification, don't hesitate to contact for a second time your point of contact and get these informations in order to be covered on all aspects when you will be in the demonstration, okay? Covering yourself and talking about the level expectation of your prospect or customer. Be transparent with them and be direct into asking some commitment. So share your agenda, send a hangout meeting in order to make it official. This way, it can still potentially happen, but normally you would avoid no shows into your demos. You don't want to prepare a demo, block 1 hour, one slot in your agenda, and actually have nobody showing up. So try to be transparent, try to make them understand that at 11 sharp tomorrow, you will be there waiting for them, ready to present the software. Talking about functionalities and talking about level expectation, you can definitely mention to your prospects and customers that you are going to focus on the standard framework of Odoo. The standard framework is represented by standard modules plus studio customizations. So simple studio customizations such as related fields, many-to-one fields, or simply new fields that you can create with Studio. We don't go into developments for any kind of demonstration. Even if your prospect or customer is asking to do so, we don't do it for a simple demonstration, okay? Of course, keep in mind that it is always possible and feasible to have an extra demo, a second meeting, even after the first one, where you can discuss a little bit more in details, okay? Talking about still before the demonstration. So what should we do before the demonstration? We need to prepare a script, okay? So simply a flow on how you're going to present, as you would do for any kind of presentation that you want to handle professionally, and give a dry run, especially for your first demonstrations. Try to make a trial, an essay, let's say at home, when you are alone, let's say you focus or at the office, but not in front of the customer, and you do as if the customer was there. Even better if you do it together with, for example, your coach or team leader, so that you can directly receive some feedbacks. This script might be organized in bullet points, might be taken in the way you prefer to take notes, but it's something that you can keep at the side during your demo that should help you to have a fixed flow, let's say, on how you're going to present the different modules and which features you're going to present and highlight in the applications. The structure, of course, of this flow will vary depending on the needs of the customer. So the main goal is always to show an integrated flow, show that the applications can be used all together, and that's a big plus, that's a great advantage. That's where Odoo brings in a very nice added value. Apart from that, of course, it will help you if having this, let's say, scripted aside is useful, is definitely to help you to not stress too much, especially during your first demonstrations. So it helps you keep on focused on the points you know. It keeps on regulating your time, because if you know that you have to present 6 applications in 60 minutes, you know how to properly organize it if you make a dry run and you prepare a proper script beforehand, okay? Another tip I would like to share with you during, let's say, this presentation is that before a demo, you need to make sure that you tested the relevant flows. In Odoo, there are many automated flows. such as, for example, a make-to-order, a reordering rule. So, for example, a sales order that automatically triggers a purchase order or a manufacturing order. Well, all these types of automations should be better checked before the demonstration, simply for the reason that, as you can understand, once you will be in the demonstration and something is not properly working as you expect, you might start to stress out, you might start to search for some configuration, and even for one single little point that you misconfigured, you might not give the best image about the software in a way. So test it beforehand, make sure that everything works as you expect, and then go in the demonstration. Okay? So other things that we want to share regarding the step before the demonstration. One of the last things you need to do before the demonstration, but potentially the most important one, the most functional one. We need to configure the database, of course. You cannot present something which is not ready or something generic, such as a Runbot database. You need to configure a test database. In order to do so, you do it based on the qualification and you do it going on the Odoo.com trial. So open a free trial for your prospects and customers, dedicate some time to install the modules to properly configure them, matching the flows you qualified, and add informations which are related to the company. Again, I'm not going to show that I'm selling bacon burgers when I'm a service company. Don't make things figurative and theoretical, but focus on what's the real scope, the real handling of the company you're talking to. Prepare something visual. That's super important. One of the key added value of Odoo, especially compared to other ERPs, is that we have a great user experience. So our visual impact is super relevant, and you can really focus and insist on that during your presentation because the person you are talking to will be seeing your screen, so you guide them through the functionalities. So actually, prepare something visual. Install, for example, information about the company, such as the logo, the address, the real name of the company. Go on the webpage of the company and search for products, for example. Use product images. It looks as something easy in a way, but it's very important simply for the reason that this helps you in the handling of the product, and it adds more colors to your presentation, which are always nice and welcome to make your presentation beautiful. Moreover, prepare some wow effects. Right now, we are going to see what a wow effect is. To briefly describe what a wow effect is that you have to consider that anything that visually can impress your prospect is a wow effect. So there are some functionalities that when shown to your prospect are going to be like, wow, that's really amazing. That's so nice that actually the software can do that, especially compared to my old ERP, which looks dark and gray and with no dynamic effects, okay? Finally, before the demo, when you are preparing the database, actually install the demo data if you want to show some reports. I will show you briefly in a database that we will see in a minute how you can actually do that. That's really important simply because it gives you a lot of contacts, products, sales order, purchase orders that are useful when you want to show reporting tools. You don't want to show a pivot table or a graph which shows 0 sales, 0 euro, 0 revenues. You want to show something with some dynamic graphs again, so with real data. Instead of creating manually 20 sales order, 20 invoices, just load demo data if the business intelligence is a very important part, let's say, for your prospect or customer. Right now, passing into what is the database. We are going to switch to the database in order to see together, let's say, how you can actually list some of the wow effects. There is not an official list, but we just wanted to give you an idea, let's say, on what a wow effect is, on how you can properly configure. And in order to mention that, we can go on a real test database over here. So, switching to my test database, I have right now some modules installed in the classic enterprise version. I open the free trial for my prospect or my customer. And right now, what I will be able to do, for example, is that if I'm presenting some of these modules, I might be thinking about configuring on the website a contact form that actually generates a lead in my CRM. So from the settings of the CRM, I could basically say, all right, I would like to generate leads from people that contact me on a contact form or the website. Moreover, seeing other functionalities. On the sales module, every time I'm presenting the sales modules, I could potentially show the standard features, the basic features, yes, but I shouldn't forget about minor features that can have a very good impact on the customer. So for example, when I'm creating a quotation over here, I could select my customer and I would use a quotation template if this is relevant for my prospect or customer. Over here we see we have a promo pack product and installation included, and selecting my quotation template, I'm auto-filling in, let's say, 2 or more fields. So we are imagining to sell a washing machine, and moreover, we already have, for example, the delivery and installation service included. So that's how, for example, you can actually use the quotation template. That's a nice feature to show if required by your customer. Apart from that, when we would actually send it via email, show it how to send it via email. Over here, we will actually pass this step. But a definitely important step that you need to show is the customer preview. Anytime you're sending a quotation, why not showing the super nice feature we have in Odoo of giving the possibility to our prospects and your prospects and customers' prospects to accept and sign online. So again, this is something that can be configured on your website. It can be, let's say, set up as an easy customer preview. And over here, show that their prospects will be able, for example, to draw with their mouse their signature or automatically load it, accept and sign, and potentially even pay online. So it's also a way to open a new topic and discuss which are the payment acquirers that we do accept for online payments. So play it in a smart way, show nice visual effects such as these ones. Right now that, for example, my order is confirmed, another thing I would like to show is that, well, when I'm selling a service, I already think about the next step. The next step would be handling this delivery and installation. In order to do so, I already created an automation that selling a service automatically generates a new task for me. So it's where I actually find my sales order number 2 with a task that has to be assigned, because this is part already of a new project, which are all the installations on site that we have configured over here. So all type of flows that we handle in an automated way should be tested beforehand and should be shown, because they might really impress your prospects and customers. Seeing that automatically I see something has to be assigned for the handling of this hour of installation of the washing machine at the customer location is a big plus. So don't only mention it, but show it visually. All right? So these are some simple ideas of what are the wow effects. Then we could discuss in details. We can have a direct call eventually, and we could talk about all the automations you can have into generating an automatic subscription, into generating a purchase order or a manufacturing order when you sell a physical product. In general as well, when we talk about products and contacts, always be ready to show visually, let's say, how the smart buttons works. Okay, when we're talking about the product, when we talk about the washing machine we just sold, I'm not only seeing a product here, I'm having very nice informations such as the quantity I have on hand, the quantity I purchase, and potentially I can show to my prospect how actually we can see a forecast. These are nice functionalities, visual and graphic functionalities that we must insist on. That makes a beautiful presentation, all right? And it becomes more interesting to follow, all right? So right now we discussed about all the steps, and we've seen with this database on how we can actually handle the different, let's say, preparation steps that we have before a demonstration. Now, we will switch back to the presentation to continue and see what we have to do and which are some tips and tricks, for example, that we have to follow during the demonstration, okay? So, during the demonstration, we actually have to follow something different. Let's go and discover it together. First of all, a good way to start, because during the demonstration, you will be in the video conference, you will be sharing your screen potentially, but instead of starting directly with showing the functionalities and the modules, you can definitely start and dedicate 5 minutes to summarize the qualification. That's a smooth way to break the ice, to start the conversation, and to not directly jump into functionalities. So summarize what has been said. That helps you to make sure that you are on the same page with the prospect, because you maybe had your qualification call 2 weeks ago. For you, it's easy to recap because you have notes, but your prospect or customer might not have this information fresh in their mind. So dedicate this time to have a little of introduction. That's a good thing for any kind of presentation anyway. A very important reminder, for your first demos, you can even print it on a post-it and keep it at the side of your laptop. A demonstration for sales departments is not a functional training, all right? This is not our role, and we are there to prove that the company of our customer or prospect can be handled and the flows can be managed with the ERP. So just to prove that it is feasible. We are not there to train and to teach on how to use the software. This will happen in a second moment with a functional consultant or with the help of a partner. So the goal is to sell Odoo and not to teach. Keep that in mind, because otherwise you risk to go into training sessions rather than presentation and demonstration sessions. All right? That's not our goal. For that, there's webinars, there's documentations, there's the functional video on the Odoo Academy, and in general, that does not belong to the tasks that we have to handle, okay? Keep your demonstration as simple as possible, okay? Focus on the wow effects and focus on the real flows of the company. Don't show useless features. So I'm not going to show the multi-currency and multi-company features for a company that absolutely doesn't need it because there's only one company selling only in Europe. So, I mean, we focus on what is the real need for our prospect and customer. Everything else is accessory at that moment. It will be usable, it will be useful in another moment, but not now. I just focus on what they require me, what they ask me to handle, okay? Moreover, emphasize the business value of every solution. Again, we are here presenting some functionalities, but we are not there to train them on how to use these functionalities. We are there to show that that specific functionality can make them save a lot of time, can improve their efficiency, can make the process almost funny to do. So that's our goal, and that's where we need to insist. We are not there to prove that Odoo has a higher technical superiority or achieves a more technical level compared to other solutions. That's, again, not our role. Final point, let's say, that we have to consider during the demonstration, talking about the meeting itself. Tell a story. That's super important. When you are presenting something, that you tell a story and you embody potentially the workers and the employees of that company. Imagine that you need to bring in the knowledge that you have about Odoo and the knowledge that you have about their company because you qualified their needs. And having this mix of informations, you are there for 1 hour as one of their employees with a lot of Odoo knowledge, showing how their flows can be handled with Odoo. So this is the type of exercise you have to do. Don't show generic demos because that is something that we can easily see, for example, with a specific webinar. So a specific webinar will not treat every single case of our prospects or customers. We are there for that, so we can actually do it. We can tailor-made the demonstration and tell a story, which is every time a little bit different. So make them want to use Odoo on the daily database. So on a daily basis, it simply means that they have to imagine and to project themselves in a way in the future, seeing themselves, let's say, using Odoo and handling their company with Odoo. That has a psychological positive impact. If you can achieve that level, you'll have an easier time, let's say, to put forward the value and to have a sale happening. So, other aspects that we want to evaluate during the demonstration. We talk now about soft skills mostly. So about skills that in general you would need to perfection and have in order to be a good presenter, but that are definitely related with the demonstration moment in Odoo. So keep your interlocutor awake. That sounds obvious, but if you just do a monologue, it won't be effective. Be enthusiastic about what you are proposing, about what you are selling. When you are presenting the solution, believe in what you are presenting. Play, let's say, with your voice tone. Play with the tonality, with breaks, with interaction even with the person you are talking to, because that makes the presentation lighter, cooler to follow, and in general, it creates a good environment for a nice meeting. Don't hesitate to make breaks, and I would even say that you must make breaks. If you don't do so, the risk is that you lose the person, so that the person won't be able to ask questions or to interrupt you if you go ahead like a train. Don't do so. You must make breaks. Every time, for example, you finish presenting one module, you end up with one block, and before switching between CRM and sales, for instance, I'll stop a couple of seconds and ask, is everything clear? Do you have any doubts? Is what I'm showing corresponding to what you're searching for? So these types of questions, even if redundant during our demonstration meeting, have to be asked, okay? That's key for your prospect or customer in order to be able for him to interrupt you and ask the questions and clarify the doubts. Keep in mind one thing, a prospect or a customer who has doubts about the solution is somebody who won't sign a quote anytime soon. Clarify the doubts and avoid creating doubts, okay? In order to do so, let them ask you questions, okay? Use sometimes nice words that of course can have a positive impact, such as imagine, save how much amount of time we are going to save. So impress them positively with your speech and keep a positive attitude in general. Make a custom presentation. As we already said, we want to make it tailor-made and specifically dedicated to the company. No development needed, but definitely the customization, the configuration of the logo, product, images has to be there, okay? It has to match in general the workflow that you just qualified. Use real data of the company, as we mentioned, and especially if you want to play it in a smart way, focus on the pain points. It's proven that if you will be able to solve the pain points, you already get a plus, you already get an advantage, let's say even compared to competitors, for example. If you handle properly the point where they are struggling the most, well, the impact you will have is going to be higher and stronger, okay? Prove actually even that Odoo can do what the previous software couldn't or wasn't doing in such a good way. So play it smart and put always forward the value proposition. Finally, in order to end this presentation, we are going to see together what you can do and the things you have to keep in mind after a demonstration. In this moment, just to chronologically identify it, we are still in the video conference with the person, but you just ended the functional presentation. So you presented the functionalities, the modules, you explained how the software is integrated, you mentioned the added value, and in order to close in a nice way your meeting, you should definitely dedicate 5 to 10 minutes to this last part after the demo. First of all, you can invite and tell to your prospect or customer that they can be invited and they can have access to the free trial database. This is a big plus for some prospects and customers, simply for the reason that not all solutions will allow them to have this access. We do, so mention it. Then, if they are not interested, fine. At least you mention it and they know this possibility exists. Show again the pricing at the end of the meeting. You have the advantage of sharing the screen, so you can guide them easily through different pages in a couple of minutes. So why not showing our nice pricing configurator, where in some minutes you can describe how the pricing is structured. So, for example, the number of users, the list of applications, and the services, the implementation services that you would recommend. It might be a success pack and of which size, or it might be a partner service and of which type, handling your partner portfolio, for example. Mention during the implementation, of course, so when you're talking about implementation methodologies, mention and clarify one more time which would be the best for them. Another step, think about which are the next phases and the next actions you want to take. Again, we did the qualification, we plan a demo. We did a demo, what do we plan? Well, it's simple. We plan a commercial follow-up. So we presented the software. Right now, we keep on focus on our final objective, the signature of a contract. So at that moment, what we have to do is simply to think of when we can make a follow-up. And this could potentially happen in 6-7 days after the demonstration, for example, or based and agreed on which are the availabilities of your customer and prospect, you decide on when to follow up. But again, don't let the things randomly in the air. Fix an appointment. Tell them, look, I will be calling you next Wednesday. We are going to have a quick conversation in the morning just to check if you have any functional or commercial question. So this is how you follow up. This is how you keep them focused on the topic, concentrated on Odoo, and this is how you get higher commitment as well. If you don't say so, they might forget to test, or they might think, oh, I might test it next month. No, tell them and make them understand that right now that you ended your flow and you presented the solution, you're kind of waiting for a feedback and a response from their side, okay? So we want to put a little bit of pressure. It doesn't have to be aggressive, but you just want to make feel that you are going to follow up on them just to know if you can help or if you can assist in further stages, for example. Finally, very important, you might want to send a quotation, so an offer at the end of the demonstration, simply for the reason that everything is fresh in their mind. You just presented the features, you just presented the modules with their own names, so mention and ask if they want to receive a quotation. First of all, this helps you because you are going to go towards the next step, so the proposition and negotiation step. So you're already into the commercial parts if they accept to have this offer. And moreover, because as said, when you present modules such as documents, expenses, just to take some examples, the names are very clear for us since we know the functional features included in the modules, but are very generic for other people. Some people might think, well, documents, is it about a massive storage such as a Dropbox or a Google Drive? You have to clarify that. Same for expenses. It means everything and nothing. Is it related to accounting? Is it for all expenses of the company? No, we know it's related, for example, to HR expenses or expenses that you can do in a project. For example, a consultant going on site for a lunch. So all these things, the sooner are clarified, the better. If you do it at the end of the demo, you will be preparing the quotation almost with the person. And then just after the meeting, you will be sending this quotation, this offer, and you're already projecting yourself into the next step of your pipeline, where you will be actually following up for the commercial, let's say, response and feedback, proposition and negotiation phases, respectively, of the CRM. So I hope that this presentation was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. As we said, feel free to send me an email if you have any kind of question, any doubt on how you should properly handle it. And keep in mind one thing, it is super important to shadow people as well during demonstrations, because this is how we learn. This is how we share the knowledge, shadow people, see the different techniques, the different styles that everybody uses, and take the best out of it. Wishing you a good continuation with the sales onboarding. And again, one more time, thank you for watching the video. Goodbye.
It's really good.
Nice.
Yeah.